Okay, here we go. So this is going to be a video about my level 88 single player throw barb. Alright, so let's get into this a little bit. So, throw barb, I like barbs. Barbs are a cool build, a cool class. There's not a ton of builds you can do with them, but I do find them to be just a pretty fun character overall. So the throw barb is actually might be the best. I think they're kind of far superior to a boson. I mean, you can check my boson video. I mean, they have really none of the disadvantages that a boson has, and they have. I mean, I think they're just better. They're just plain better. I'm not sure there's really much of a trade-off. Well, let's get into the skills a bit. So, War Cries is the easiest to go over. Max Battle Orders. Okay, pretty standard. Max Throwing Mastery. You're going to want to put 1 point into Axe Mastery, just because if you're using a Lacerator, it comes in handy. Just increases your attack rating on your Frenzy, which I'll get into. So 1 each, increase speed, increase stamina, Iron Skin, and I think I guess I have 3 points in natural resistance. Just pump it up to whatever you need. I mean, you could get it as high as like 9 or 10 if you need. If that's what you want to do. I don't have to do that because of my gear. So here in combat skills, I don't get Whirlwind. I don't get Berserk. I'll go into that in a bit. I do go for a point in Leap Attack. Maybe I should spec out of that. I don't know. But yeah, so oddly enough, your main skill, Double Throw, you don't have to max it because the damage does not improve. I have some points in here just for attack rating. What you do is you max Double Swing because that improves your damage, and you put a point of Frenzy. That'll be your left click, or at least how I like to do it. The great thing is when you're dual wielding, this build is kind of almost a hybrid build, Frenzy and Throw, although Throw is your main source of damage. Also, you might notice I have some points in Leap. Leap is a pretty useful skill. You could also do Howl if you want. But Leap is good because you leap in place and it actually knocks back enemies. And I'll go into that. I think I have Howl here, but I never really use Howl, and I don't use Leap that often either. I should probably spec out of it and just put more points into a Double Throw for the attack rating. Wow. I should redo these skills. I really have to redo these skills. Concentrate I don't need, Stun I don't need. I don't know why I have these. Okay, anyway, I should probably spec out all 3 of these and just put them into a Double Throw. But those are the skills. Stats, minimum strength for your gear. And then I got my life to, well, I don't have BO on now, but I got my life to the point where with BO, I have 3k life, a little bit over because I've leveled a couple times since. So I found 3k is really probably more than you need, but it's all I needed, and the rest I dumped into Dex for the attack rating, and I think it improves your damage as well. So let's talk about the gear. So, critical thing on this build is the weapons. Okay, Lacerator. This is maybe... Well, actually, a throw barb is actually pretty versatile. I mean, you could have some other weapons and then have like an Atmos Scarab. But Lacerator is really your best in slot. Absolute best choice for this. I mean, just look at the stats. 33% chance to cast an amplified damage. And it's level 3 amplified damage, so the radius is a little larger than it would be on, I think, an Atmos. So, increased attack speed, open wounds, prevent monster heal, replenish quantity. I mean, it's just every stat. The only thing that is a little bit annoying sometimes is hit causes monster to flee. Sometimes that's, you're trying to kill a monster and it runs away, and it's just like, that's a little bit of a pain. But if you are kind of under-geared, and it's a pretty good defensive stat, so that could actually come in handy. For me, it's a little annoying because my gear is good, and I would just rather kill him. Then over here, War Strike. It's a little deceptive. It doesn't have tons of damage, but the thing that really makes this the best choice is the piercing attack and the deadly strike. So this thing does kind of unbelievable damage, a lot of damage. So 50% deadly strike and the piercing, I'm pretty sure those two things only apply to when this weapon is thrown. But yeah, it's really good. I do think you can cast amp damage with it, so you can pierce through multiple enemies and cast amp damage, a little ways away. And the deadly strike in combination with the Gore Riders, the High Lords, and your mastery, I mean, you're doing double damage. Plus the amp damage, you're doing a lot of damage. So the damage output on this guy is actually like real good. You can see my throw damage for the last hitter, almost 4k, almost 3k with this little thing, 124. I mean, it's pretty nuts, honestly. Laying of Hands, just obvious, you need fire res, damage to demons, you need the increased attack speed as well. Razor Tail is probably even more important on this build than it would be on a Boson, because a Boson, you don't have a passive pierce like a Boson does, so this is really good. You get your Lacerator piercing as well, and you up the pierce on this. Raven Frosts, there's a couple pretty good rolls on these. You could consider getting like a Mana Steel ring. I choose not to do that because Double Throw and Frenzy both use very few mana. Sometimes I do pop a mana potion, but I just the attack rating is really good. You really need the attack rating. Your goal for the attack rating should be about 10k. You can see I'm a little under that. That's because of my helmet. So I'm using a giant skull right now with it's just a one socket, kind of crappy, but it's just a one socket with the 15 IS. If I had two socket and put 30 IS, it wouldn't reach another breakpoint. So this is fine for my purposes. It's good. Crushing Blow, knockback, it's good. I would definitely prefer an Ariats. I'm pretty sure Ariats would be best in slot for this guy. The only problem is I have not... Okay, well I found one Ariats, but it was ethereal. So, I mean, that was, I don't know. I think there's like a 1 in 20 chance that an item is ethereal. And the one Ariats, I mean, I found a Griffin's. I found a Crown of Ages. I found 3 Giant Skulls. Found Jalal's. Found a couple Cerebus Bite. Found 2 Hazes. On and on. I've only found one Ariats, and it's ethereal. And it's just, that's welcome to Diablo 2, RNG, man. But once I get an Ariats, I'm going to put that on, and I'm going to respec and restat. I have way too much strength right now just because I messed up. So this character will get better, but I'm just waiting to find an Ariats. I didn't think I have to wait this long. Gore Riders, that's a pretty obvious choice. Open Wounds. Open Wounds is good. You get a decent amount of open wounds on this guy. Deadly Strike, Crushing Blow. And then the armor. This is a very expensive armor. I only have 2 of these. One on my Zealer, one on this guy. Yeah, I've said before, it's kind of the best item in the game. I mean, maybe not the best item, but the best armor. I mean, 2 to all skills, which is great. Especially on a Barbarian, all skills is like very awesome. Improves your critical strike, attack rating, damage, resistance, defense, life. I mean, it just improves literally every stat. Unlike on other melee builds, So yeah, try to get plus skills on your Barbarian. That's another reason an Ariats would really be great. Then I would have 5 to all skills, and then plus 7 to combat skills. I mean, that would be... Plus it has a % bonus to attack rating, so my attack rating would go way up. And then other than that, life stolen per hit, that's awesome because I don't, you know, if you don't have this and you want a mana suit, maybe you get a dual leech ring or just a leech ring. But yeah, and then all resistance. So with your natural resistance, plus the resistance from this, plus High Lord's Laying of Hands, that gets you right to, this will go to max once I have my battle command on, but that gets you up to max fire and light res, and that's all you need. You don't bother maxing cold or poison. You just can't prioritize that. It's too much. On Switch, PO sticks, you know, standard. Charms, you know, attack rating, max damage charms, typical melee stuff. I do take care to, I forget what breakpoint I reach, but I think there's some breakpoint I reach. I don't have a lot of faster hit recovery. In fact, I may only have it from these charms, but I think there's like a, yeah, I guess there's a 27% breakpoint. I know I hit it right on the nose. Yeah. Oh, another note about the weapons. So, I have some other weapons. Yeah, I found a Ghost Glaive, which is cool. This is kind of crappy. Gimmer Shreds. Oh, look at this. Look at it. I found 4 of these, and they're all between 209 and 220 ED, and I literally found them in order. 209, 213, 215, now at 220. All right, so I only have to find like 20 more, and I'll get a perfect one. This is a pretty good roll. Some gloves I tried out. IS knockback with some fire res, nice. Klee gloves, you need the IS, so those don't really work. Random stupid ring. So yeah, that's the gear, and we'll get into a gameplay, but the Throw Barb is, I mean, it's a good character, and it's a lot of fun to use. You get to use Frenzy. I mean, this character functions totally as a Frenzy Barb. I mean, I could never do throw damage, and I could run all the areas. Merc gear, standard. This is just my kind of standard setup for Mercs. Tretch, Reaper's Toll, Gauleams. It's just awesome. It's really hard to beat this, and it kind of depends on kind of what kind of character you are. But for most melee builds, this is like a pretty great setup. Anything? Oh yeah, and about the weapons. So you'll notice these are not ethereal. On single player, on PVM, you don't want ethereal weapons because you're going to run out and you have to wait around for 20 years for them to replenish to full because you can't repair them. It's such a pain. Even as is, I mean, that's the one annoying thing about this character is I'm coming to town all the time to get these repaired. Like, if I do a bail run, I have to come to town like 4 or 5 times maybe to get my weapons repaired. You know, but from the time I go to World Stone 2 to the time I finish. So let's get into some gameplay here. You got a nice little map here. So look at this. Boom, boom, boom. And the nice thing about Frenzy is it really synergizes well. It increases your attack and run speed. And you notice I don't take a lot of damage. So that's what I was saying, how this build has kind of none of the disadvantages that a Boson has, and like, a Boson, you know, you're so fragile, and honestly, so on this build, I mean, my damage output is better, and I'm less fragile, and I can go right up to monsters and whack them if need be, so it's kind of really good. Whoa. Okay. Yeah, these are one of the most annoying monsters in the game, if you ask me. Look at this. Lacerator. It's just no problem. Boom, boom, boom. Look at that. And ranged characters... See, on a Boson, knockback is really necessary because you're so fragile. On this character, if I had an area that's... the thing is, I do so much damage... you really don't need the knockback. Like, you will kill something before it ever gets to you, if need be. You know, you just point, click away. See, when they run away from you, you just throw. Yeah, that's pretty good. Go back. I mean, look at them. They just like... especially once your amplified damage gets going. Like, your damage output on this character is kind of, like, incredible. It's maybe my highest damage character. Look at this. Oh, look at this, though. I'll just finish him up. I already got to go to town. See, look at that. I'm not even at level 3. Fortunately, it only costs 1 gold to repair your stuff. So... Oh wait, I was on level 3. Alright, I'm not even at the throne yet, and I had to repair. Look at these guys. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, so it's a pretty dope character. And it's a lot of fun, you know? It's a different build for Barb, you know? Like, I don't know what percentage of Barbs are like are Whirlwind or Frenzy, but honestly, I have a Whirlwind Barb and a Frenzy Barb, and I had an easier time going through the game with this build than with either of those two. I mean, it's really good. You know, you wouldn't think that the best range character in the game is Barb, but I think it's true. Alright, let's not get all mixed up in this. Alright, let's move on. Ooh, look at that. We got 1 hit. We got 2 hits. Yeah, the other thing about the annoying thing about the monster fleet is that it actually replaces your amp damage, which is kind of annoying. Yeah. Yeah, but I would really like to get an Ariad's face on this guy and just make it that much better. But yeah, Lacerator is really not that hard to find, nor is Warstrike. And those are kind of the two... the Lacerator really is maybe the one most important piece of equipment. Almost everything else can be switched out. You know, you could use a Vamp Gaze and a Duress, or just like any, what's that rune word, like a Stone or Gloom or whatever that has 50 all res. You know, use that. I mean, that would be good. Use a Cat's Eye. You know, use an Eye of Etlich. I mean, whatever. Although it's nice to have the attack speed. So yeah, it's pretty versatile. There are a lot of setups you can use for the build. Alright, let's see if my Merc gets killed here. Frenzy a little bit, so I have to go repair. I'll just talk to Maul. I get this poison off us. I'm a little OCD about BO. OCD BO. Kind of try to keep it up all the time. Yeah. Honestly, this build, maybe it's just the fact that the Chains of Honor is so good, but like this Barb is more successful as a Frenzy Barb than my Frenzy Barb is. It's kind of nuts. I guess probably a combination of the Lacerator is so good. Yeah, Lacerator's honestly, I mean, like, that's a hell viable endgame weapon for, like, a Zealot or whatever. I mean, the amp damage is, like, I mean, just look at this. You know? Single player. You can break, man. Yeah, boom, 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 boom. Minions destruction? It's like nothing. Alright, we'll kill Bill here. Man, all my videos end up being so long. I try to do them quick. Yeah, ba ba ba. And then you get your Frenzy up and, oh god. When he summons a clone, that is, god damn it. Look at this, you kill Bale pretty quick. I mean, not super quick. I guess my crushing blow is not huge. I'm just gonna ignore the clone, I think. Whether I can do this and just hit both of them at the same time. Yeah. Oh, circlet. Crap. Yeah, that's a throw barb. Like I said, a lot of budget options for this. I mean, all this stuff down here is pretty gettable. I mean, you could use, I'm sure you could use Goblin Toast, for God's sake. You know, use Tear Hunch. You know, you can use whatever. Like I said, Cat's Eye, Duress. So you got a lot of options, and you can make a, I think, pretty good hell viable throw barb. You know. I mean, the most important things for making any character hell viable really are dealing with immunities and getting your resistance up to a decent level. And you know, this character accomplishes both those things like pretty easily. So, and you could even, I don't know, maybe you could, like, I don't have points in Berserk, but maybe you could deal with them that way if you don't have a Lacerator or an Atmos or whatever. Or just rely on your mark, you know? Let them hit the Reaper's Toll, let them knock them down. But yeah, that's this build. Alright, that'll be all, I suppose.